Thank you, Madam Chair. Moving on to Section E, Ceremonial Resolutions. Before you is Resolution 23-200, extending condolences to the family of the late Ernest Ernie Resentz.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adopt Resolution 23-200.
Moved by Member Johnson, seconded by Vice Chair Sugimura to adopt Resolution 23-200. Discussion, Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to request the clerk read the resolution in its entirety.
Ms. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution 23-200, extending condolences to the family of the late Ernest Ernie Resentz. Whereas Ernest Ernie Resentz, one of the most respected arborists in the history of Hawaii, passed away on June 13th, 2023 at the age of 91 in Wailuku, surrounded by his family. And whereas Ernie was born on January 17th, 1932 at Maui's Pu'unene Hospital to Ernest and Victoria Resentz and was raised in Pu'uohala Village in Wai'ehu. And whereas Ernie graduated from St. Anthony School in Wailuku in 1950 and began attending the University of Hawaii at Manoa to study secondary education. And whereas Ernie's first teaching job was in Honoka'a, Hawaii Island, where he met Arlene Humphreys, the love of his life, And whereas Ernie and Eileen married in 1958 and purchased a home in Makawao, where the couple raised 5 children, cultivated an urban forest, and established a gathering place for their 10 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. And whereas in 1960, Ernie began teaching at Maui Technical School, now known as the University of Hawaii, Maui College, starting a career that spanned more than 50 years in which he taught courses such as All About Trees. And whereas Ernie returned to school to major in biology at the University of Oregon and took courses in horticulture at the University of California, Davis, developing respect for and expertise in trees. And whereas after returning home, Ernie was instrumental in establishing the University of Hawaii Maui College's Agricultural Careers Program and successfully lobbied the state for funding to construct a classroom and greenhouse facility to teach horticulture, arboriculture, and other plant management courses. Whereas Ernie explained his love of trees to Maui Green and Beautiful last year. Trees provide us with fruit, flowers, shade, and numerous environmental benefits. And whereas in 1991, Ernie drafted the first Maui County planting plan, a 179-page document to advise the county on how to care for its street and park trees and to identify exceptional trees. And whereas in 2016, Ernie researched, wrote, and coordinated the current 3rd edition of the Maui County Planting Plan, a 243-page guide for caring, pruning, planting, replanting, removing, and preserving trees and other plants in the county with maps prepared by his friend and forester, Bob Hobdy. And whereas in 2015, Ernie was recognized by the International Society of Arboriculture for his outstanding performance as a teacher and advocate, and was honored as only one of 3 in the world to receive the True Professional of Arboriculture Award. And whereas Ernie was a longtime advocate for protecting the Lahaina banyan tree, which he regarded as a living treasure, noting it as one of the county's most valuable assets. Whereas Ernie's tree care philosophy was simple. Treat trees as you want to be treated. They will reward you with benefits you could not find elsewhere. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the County of Maui that it extends its condolences and deepest sympathies to the friends and family of the late Ernest Ernie Resentz, that it expresses its gratitude to Ernie for his dedication to sharing his knowledge of tree care and promoting arboriculture in the County of Maui. And that certified copies of this resolution be transmitted to Ernie's children, David James Resentz, Diana Lee Fain, Catherine Resentz Duffy, Laura Ann Resentz, and Judith Ellen Davies, Kenneth Dwayne Sparkman, Chair, Maui County Arborist Committee, and the Honorable Richard T. Bisson Jr., Mayor, County of Maui.
Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Members, even in the midst of uncertainty, pain, and confusion, we can find a sense of purpose. And while there might not be a quick and easy fix to the emotions we are feeling as a community right now, purpose and meaning is one thing that helps us carry through. When we honor the lives of those who have passed, there is so much we can learn about purpose. When we hear about lifetime of deeds and accomplishments made for the sake of service to our community, there is so much to be inspired by and integrate into our own lives. The life of Ernie Resentz is one such model we can draw from. A born and raised Maui boy, Ernie followed the track we often wish for our young people. Go get some training and an education, then return home, come back and give back and apply what you've learned. Ernie did just that. Like the trees he revered, he dug his roots in, spread his branches out wide, and planted seeds to flourish throughout our community. These seeds were literal and metaphoric. He not only planted hundreds of trees that continue to shade us today, the efforts he seeded also continue to bear fruit. The Maui County Planting Plan, for example, was written and extensively researched by Ernie. Ernie called the plan his legacy, and it is indeed something that lives on, an invaluable resource to help government and tree lovers, landscapers, and gardeners from across the county pick the best trees and plants for any area. It guides us to care for and maintain these trees and plants. This plan, I've been told, is so exemplary that it is referred to by other counties across the state. Another example of the perpetual impact of Ernie's service is the agricultural program he created at Maui College back in 1975. Ernie lobbied for a classroom and greenhouse facility, which were eventually funded by the state. Ernie would spend decades there teaching generations of gardeners and future arborists. Ernie was beloved by his students and internationally recognized for his expertise. News articles recounted how he danced with and cared for his wife and the love of his life, Eileen, although throughout their days together. I was there when Ernie was honored last year as an outstanding older American in this county, and it was just less than a year ago that he was still passionate as ever in these very chambers, telling us from the podium right there how important it is to have trees in our parking lots and to follow through the guidance of the planting plan. Ernie was quoted as saying, "Treat trees as you want to be treated. They will reward you with benefits you could not find anywhere." He is also quoted as saying, "Maui is my island. I was born here. I grew up here. I raised my family here. I want to leave it a better place." As we continue our work here in these council chambers, I hope we can take these words to heart and value our natural surroundings as sincerely as Ernie did. In our work, I hope we can also dig in deep and leave this a better place. Thank you, Ernie, for all you've done, and thank you to Ernie's Ohana for sharing this great man with our community. I extend my heartfelt condolences for your loss. As a side note, I want to recognize Councilmember Rollins-Fernandez's opening remarks and how important they are and how it is applicable today for Ernie's legacy. So thank you so much, Councilmember. I also ask for the members' support of my motion. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chair Sugimura.
Thank you. I too honor and cherish Ernie Resentz. I have a memory forever of him, and at that same ceremony when he was being honored for Older American, I went up to him and I said, "Mr. Resentz, I have 3 cypress trees in my yard that my normal tree trimmer does not know how to handle because of the height and the size." And he immediately gave me the name and he passed on the name of the tree trimmer. So in my phone forever, I have his name, but how I search for him, I search for him under Ernie Resentz. That's my side notes. I can always find him. But he is, I will say that whenever you saw him, he had the biggest smile. He lived out of enthusiasm. He loved his wife and family. And he has the most interesting house that's in Makawao. And whenever I pass it, I think of him because it looks like a historical home. And one day when I saw him, he said, it is a historical home, and he has worked to maintain his character like that. And I hope one day it could be recognized for the work that he has given in a lifetime. So we will work on that. Thank you very much. I support this, and thank you very much, Gabe Johnson, for bringing this resolution forward.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the resolution, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries. Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. With no objection, I'd like to invite the attendees to join us at the podium and maybe say a few words.
Would members of the family like to come down? Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Diana Resentz Fain. I'm Ernie's firstborn, and I'm going to try to hold it together here. We are very humbled for you folks to honor our dad in this way. We knew him even more than just the tree man. He tutored me in high school algebra, and I aced it thanks to my dad. Always encouraged us to get a good education, which we did. And I want to just thank Maui Council members for what you are doing. My dad would be very honored and humbled. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Judy Resentz Davies, Dad's number 5. As is very obvious from what has been said today, Dad loved the island and people of Maui. While the Maui County Planting Plan would be considered the crowning jewel of his accomplishments, I think Dad's biggest goal and accomplished goal in life was to bring beauty and quality not only to the island of Maui, but to the people who lived here into their lives. And he did that in so many personal ways, as well as just simply planting trees where they would flourish for our enjoyment. So I'm very appreciative to you, Dad, for that. And an experience I can share with you guys about being Ernie's daughter is that everywhere we went on Maui, if I was with my dad and he would talk to somebody, after he would talk, he'd say to me, "That's my former student." Everybody was Dad's former student. And when my sisters and I would walk around on our own, oftentimes people would say, "Oh, Resentz girl." And that was just because of Dad. So lots of memories because of how he invested in this island and its life. So thank you, especially during this time on our beloved Maui, for recognizing Dad's contribution in its vitality. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, could you take a picture with us? Would you like to take a picture?
For a picture.
Okay, members.
Okay.
We'll move on to G, presentation of written or